these tiles, and I've shown you a picture of the mobile I made, and I got an inquiry of how to make them, so I saw a video on YouTube, and I'll put the link to the bottom. I shall put a link on the bottom of this so you can see the original video I saw of how to make them. But I'm quite impatient, and I just like mine came out slightly different to the way they made them, so which I thought were quite nice. They're cool. So let me show you how to make them. I'll just go through what you need. You need the oven, your oven, a baking tray. I've just got this is my oven. My crafty oven is really small, and I've just turned the temperature way up to the hottest it will go, because I think that's how I get the bubbles in them, these nice bubbly bits. But if you don't want bubbles in them, you need to sort of experiment. If you don't want the bubbly effect and you just want it smooth colour, then I think you have to do it at a lower heat. I haven't really experimented that much, but what you will need some old CDs. Now there's two types of CDs. There's the music data ones and the film ones, and they are different, and they give you different effects. I'll show you that in a minute. You need a good sturdy pair of scissors. You will need a craft knife, X-Acto knife, or a sharp blade or something. You need some sticky tape. Wide tape's better. It has to be really sticky. And you will need some acrylic paint, any acrylic paint. The ones I'm using, I've got Liquitex one, and I've got a whole thing of these, which you won't be able to get, but they're just liquid acrylics. I've got some wire snippers and some wire for when I hang them up, and I've also got a soldering iron with a pointy nib on it, or you can use a needle and heat the needle up in a flame. That's to make the holes. Let me show you. It's to make the holes in the top so you can hang them up. That's if you want to hang them up, because you can use these little tiles as like mosaic tiles and stick them onto things. You need to experiment with it. So let me show you how I start. To start with, I take off the holographic film that's on there, and to do that I've got my little knife, and if I go, just score it lightly, and you'll be able to tell which ones are which. The ones you score lightly, the film will start peeling off. Now that one I've scored and nothing's happened, so that's going to be a difficult one. And this one, that's a nice one to do. So once you've scored it, let me zoom in a little bit for you. Once you've scored it, you can see that the holographic stuff's going to come off. Now you don't have to take it all off, because it does sort of give a nice, let me find the one with it on. I think I might have used. It's not a good example. Here, is it gonna see just there? That's a bit of film left on it, and back to front, and here, just there, there's a bit of film left on it, so it gives a sort of glittery effect. So you don't have to take it all off, it's up to you. So get a bit of sticky tape, and you just stick it on there and pull it off, and you're left with it on there. Now you can use this again for sticking on things and stuff, so don't get rid of it unless you're never going to use it. Recycle stuff. And just take off all the film. left with a nice clear disc. You can take all of this off if you want. And I'm just going to do it because for this we don't need 2, but start off doing 2. I'm leaving the video data one out for the moment. This is how to do the ones that come off. So that's what I'm taking off of those. I left bits on, but you can take it off so it's completely clean if you want. And there is also like a residue stuff on it, and you can get a baby wipe and wipe that off, because I don't know if you can see on this one, one's sort of cloudy and this one's clearer. And different makes of CDs do different things, but the ones that you can take the film off are the best for making these tiles. But I'll show you, if you've only got these other ones, which are the video data ones, what I do is I get a pair of sturdy scissors, and then they're quite hard to cut because they shatter, so just be careful, and it does get a bit sharp. Then once you just cut the edge off, they'll go all the way. See, they shatter, so you can't really get a precise thing with them. Then they're in like 2 layers, so you can prise the layer off, and they should come apart like that. Let me try with this bit. Now these ones, you can't really take off the film, but it gives some of the films off already. But they're not that brilliant to use, and when I've done them, they've come out a bit like this. They come out much thinner, and sometimes they don't stick together. But you do get pretty effects with them, so you can experiment. But I'm not going to be using those today. I'm just going to use the easy ones, because we like to make life easy. So what I do with these, I like to cut down each side. You can, if you want to make mosaics, you can draw out a grid and then trace over it with a Sharpie and do it like that if you want to be really precise and exact. But I'm a bit of a slapdash person and not a spit spot person, so I just do it by guessing. And what I like to do, I like to cut. They're quite difficult to cut, but if you've got a big sturdy pair of scissors, it's easy. I cut along each side, so I like to keep the centres. I cut along each side, and then I cut like that. And like that. Then I'm left with a middle, and I've got 2 sort of big tiles there, because you have to put them together. And then what I do is I make, I ended up with a blister last time I did this. I sort of, to keep them similar size, I sort of measure and then cut, and then I do the same with this. But if you're a bit worried about doing it, just draw on with a Sharpie or something where you want to cut. But be careful, because it does show up on the tile when it's finished if you draw a big thick line. Okay, so I've cut that, and I'm going to do the same with this one. Right, I've cut out all my bits, and now I'm just going to pair them up. I don't mind if they don't fit exactly. Oh, you can't see very well, can you? But I'm going to put them into pairs. If you want to be really precise, you can like measure them out. But as I said, I'm not that precise about stuff. So I like things to be a bit haphazard. You know, they should sort of fit. And then that one together makes a nice centre tile. So they're the ones that I'm going to do. So out of that I've made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 shapes, which would give us a nice hangy thing for our mobile, if you're making a mobile. So what you need to do next is, oh, I forgot to say, you need a paintbrush. So I've just got an old paintbrush here. Now what I do is get your baking tray and move those to the side. Now you don't need much paint, so just get your paints ready. I'm going to start off making a yellow, and it's really nice to use like metallic-y paint. So this yellow hasn't got a metallic in it, but the white I'm going to add sort of, it's a creamy colour. You don't need much paint. Sometimes I use a bit too much and I have to put it onto the other one. And then you make a sandwich and just push it together and then put it on your baking tray. Made a big mess. I'm so messy. Try not to get it on the outside of the tiles because it makes a mess. So once you've got them laid on your baking tray, you just take them and pop them in the oven. Okay, I baked, they're smaller ones. I baked these in the oven. They're still a bit warm. Be careful when you get them out. I baked these in the oven at 230 for about 10 minutes, maybe less. Keep an eye on them. If you don't want the bubbles, I think you have to do it at a lower temperature and cook them slower, but I really like the bubbly effect, but you can see how lovely it is. And when they're held up to the light shines through them, so it's really nice. They're really pretty. Now if you want to make a mobile out of them, these ones can be, these little square ones can be made into nice little tiles for mosaics, and that you can mosaic anything you like, stick them on anything. You can make jewellery out of them or anything, but what I like to do, I like to make mobiles to hang up because I like hangy things. And what I've done, I've melted a hole through the end, and to do that what I do is I get a soldering iron with a pointy nib on it, and all I do is just melt through the middle. I like doing both go through both sides because it gives a nice little lip. Be careful not to burn yourself because it gets really hot, melty plastic, and do it in a ventilated area, as with when you're baking it as well. Make sure it's in a ventilated area because I don't think the fumes are that good for you to inhale. So sort of decide how you're going to hang your mobile piece, what one you want at the top and the bottom. Make a long one out of this, something, and then you just put the holes in where you want them. Then to make it into a mobile, all I have is this wire. You can use recycled wire from things like strip wire back or stuff, but I think this is craft wire. It's green and you can pick it up from anywhere. It's really thin stuff. You can even use string to hang them up with, but I quite like using wire because it's really easy. You just have to twist it and do this. You can put beads in between. On my mobile I made some beads out of some plastic bottles, which I might do a tutorial about doing that, but I'm not very good at it. There's loads on YouTube, just go and have a look.